Hi, my name is Stephen Bhola. I am the Managing Director of Proper Ice Cubes and Proper Prints. And this is my AE92 Trueno. I see the car around. I go to track meets a lot and I would see the car. And I always had my eye on it. And I always liked Initial D. And you know Initial D is Trueno. You read this star. So I see this, I'm like, that's a real nice car. I say, oh, one of these days, if I can't get that one, I get something similar. So I started saving up bit by bit, just keeping the pocket change and whatsoever. Graduate from school, working, saving up, till luckily, and coincidentally maybe, the owner listed up for sale. Traveled all the way up the highway just to see this car. I realized that, shit, I can't get this car right now. I gotta do a little more saving, right? So, I still got my eye on this car. Ever since I see it up for sale, I say, here, well, I got a chance. Just save a little bit more. When time comes and everything align, we can get this car. Thankfully, a few years later, I was able to purchase this from the admin of GT Callouts, Sean Charles. He's very generous in parting with this car because he loved the car bad. But yeah, that is where my journey with this car started. I believe that was 2021. I had purchased the car from him August of 2021. I couldn't drive it home because I was scared to drive it. I was like, this was my first car. I was like, I'm putting my dad and his friend to drive it home because I already spent a lot of money and I was so nervous of it being my first car. I'm like, I gotta drive this home. But the next day, I kid you not, I could not keep my eyes off of this car. I'm like, wow, this is my first car. And as a car enthusiast and knowing that it's a Trueno, the whole history of the car and everything, it was amazing. Like, just looking at it, just sitting on the veranda looking at this car, like, I didn't even know what to do. I kid you not, I didn't know what to do with this car. I didn't know the first thing about building anything. I just know I wanted this car, and when I got it, the feeling was more than euphoric with owning this. So that first morning waking up, the feeling of independence, as in, I don't need to catch a bus. I don't need to, jump in a car or hitch a ride. I have the freedom and the ability to jump in and drive, go wherever I want, and enjoy the experience of owning my own transportation. The enjoying it, and of course, just at my age, a lot of young adults can't own a car. So, I'm just thankful that I had the ability to own my own transportation. And that was the first experience I had of owning my own car. A whole lot of thoughts fly into your head, but the main concern is budgetary restrictions. You don't want to make yourself broke building a car, right? At the end of the day, I understand that this is a hobby. It's not gonna make me money. It's not gonna give me any money. This is something I enjoy doing, and it's an important fact to understand where a hobby ends and where a source of income starts. So for me, my first mod was really just small little things, like I got new seats from my friend Alex. At the time, he had a white Trueno to this. So the first mod was swapping the seats, and that was, you could call it a budget mod because I didn't pay for it. Well, the plans right now are in the clouds. There are many different things being thrown around in my head as to what do I want to do with this car. I've restored the car to an OEM Plus standard. but I'm a guy. I prefer to keep a classic rather than throw power at it and go balls to the walls basically and ruin the aesthetic that I first started out with. I started out to restore this car and I intend to keep it OEM plus. I may just do slight mods, as in overhaul the engine, bring in an overhaul kit just to keep things fresh. After all, it is an old engine from the 90s, right? You can't expect things to be fresh all the time. I don't think I would have to go built internals. Maybe aftermarket ECU, just push the NA power of the car. I don't want to go turbo simply because it ruins the OEM plus aesthetic that I go for. I mean, there are builds out in this country with 4AG turbo. However, that is not my build. That is their build. That's fine. For me, I like to keep things OEM plus, keep it NA. Maybe I can dig on it in the future. I talking now, must see next month that my answer might change. You know how it is go. So, as I said, this car is built to an OEM plus standard, and that is my view of my build. Now, a lot of the viewers might not know what OEM plus is. So, OEM plus is basically how the car came from the factory with a few slight mods to just give it a better feel than how it came from factory. Nothing too outrageous like wide body kits, huge engines, and all these different aero bits and pieces. OEM Plus is basically how it came from factory, maybe just a little slightly above that. Nothing outlandish. And for this car, it's got a few. We talked about the engine. So I had a 5A FE bottom, 4AG silver top head. That was swapped out to a full 20 valve 4AG black top with the old gearbox was a C52. I put in a C56 with an LSD. The front brakes are a little bit bigger than stock. I believe they're NZE calipers on 212. No, NZE rotors on 212 calipers. The fuel pump, the fuel pressure regulator also was upgraded. I have an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator and an Evil Energy 255 E85 pump inside. I have a short throw shifter with an aftermarket heavy shift knob. I've got an NRG quick release steering wheel, but I just kept the steering wheel because I like how that looks. In terms of gauges, the car came with standard set of gauges that you would expect, but I added in a wideband AEM O2 sensor and an AEM oil pressure sensor, just because I prefer to have a little bit more accurate reading, especially when we were building this to drag race. I wanted it to be as accurate as possible to give me the best time as possible. The back of the car ends in an HKS exhaust box, and that's connected to a 2¼ inch exhaust system with a vibrant resonator box. The battery relocation was done in the trunk. I put a 4-point harness inside. I have the other 4-point for the driver's seat. I just enable buckle and unbuckle every time because this is still a street car. This is a daily driver, and I enable with just unbuckling and throwing it over. I enable. But the entire interior was actually redone. The only thing I kept was the carpet and 2 back panels. Everything else was swapped over. A new dashboard, new cluster, new center console, new seats, new back seats, new headliner as well. Everything in there was swapped over. I also swapped the suspension, max speeding coilovers, adjustable with the dampener. I have a rear and front sway bar as well as a top strut mount. In terms of inside the engine bay, the engine is untouched. However, I do have an AE111 wire loom, ECU, distributor, igniter. The whole electrical aspect of the engine is from an AE111, which is the best in my opinion, the best, and it was the last 11 to come out of Toyota. So there's that. There is a cold air intake, aftermarket radiator, 2-core full length, and that is about it.